Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Katie, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, man. It's been a while since I've
I
seen you.
know.
It's good to see
You
you.
doing well?
So well. Yep,
Good.
life is good. Life is good.
Awesome. Very cool. Is that a dog that I just saw walk behind you?
Yes, that's my
Let me see it.
where is she? Jackie, where'd you go? Here, you can meet Jackie. She's
Oh, so cute.
my buddy. She gets to hang out with me all day, so
I love it. I'm so jealous.
yeah, she's pretty cute. She's
Awesome.
pretty fun. You guys should just get therapy dogs at the
I
office. That's the new thing.
It
So
is. I know. Lindsay and I talk about it all the time because we're both incredible dog lovers. And
yeah.
so we're always like, we could get these dogs and we could have two and then we could take them home and like all this stuff. And doctor's just like, no, thanks.
Nah, we're good.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Kathleen, good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Good.
Is Jen gonna be able to join us? She finishing up
She is. She had to take lunch real quick.
okay.
She's been here
Great,
since six
great,
45. Yeah, so she'll be in right now.
Okay, great.
awesome.
She can join.
And we'll do introductions real soon. Hello, Katie. Hello, Tammy.
Hello.
Great to see you. This is exciting.
Tammy, I don't think I've met you before, but I guess I'll get to know you.
Yeah, I don't think so, but it's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Okay. We're gonna see. All right, we should have Jen joining, and
And Sylvia should be joining us from Albuquerque.
there's Lori.
Lori.
Good to see you, Lori.
Hi
Great.
there.
Hello, Lori.
Hi.
And then we've got Jamie. Bob, you were there yesterday. Do you know if she was gonna
That's a
able to?
great question. I'll text her. She was not. She was throwing up yesterday, so I'm
Oh,
not sure what state she's in today. Okay. Yeah.
okay. Bummer.
Yeah. Never a lot of fun.
I'd rather be anywhere than doing that. I hate that. Okay. Well, this is exciting, man. I'm looking forward to this. And looking forward to this. Okay. Well, we'll probably wait 2 more minutes and then we'll just get going. And hopefully the other people will be able to join. But there's Jen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, how are you guys?
Great.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Great. Bob, did you text Sylvia the link?
She has it. Yeah.
Okay. I
I
just
emailed it to her. Mhm.
okay, I just didn't have her contact info. So great.
Okay. Yeah, she's got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I say we get going. What do you think?
Let's do it. Yeah. Out of respect for everybody who's here on time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm gonna be sharing my screen for a lot of this, but um we're really excited about this. This is a project Bob and I have been considering for a very long time. And it finally came to fruition because our good friend Isaac Navarro, Dr. Navarro, and Vasilia said, the I need the Dentist Partner Pros leadership program to exist. And so he was finally our kick in the pants to say, we're gonna make this happen. So we are all here because he finally kicked us in the pants. But more importantly, we're here because you guys deserve um you guys are the backbone of your offices. Okay. and you carry so much weight on your shoulders. You make things happen, and oftentimes I feel like, at least my limited experience, uh, you all live on an island, like most of dentistry. You live in your practice on an island, and oftentimes you don't get the opportunity to, one, meet with other cohorts like yours, other office managers, other people that are doing your type of job, but also two, to receive training like this. Doctors go off and do their CE all the time, and they come back and they say, we're going to do this now. But this was an opportunity that all of your doctor owners said, we want to invest in our team members. We want them to go through this type of curriculum because they're worth it, and we want them to be able to experience this type of education and growth and stuff like that. Okay, so today is going to be fun. I'm going to just briefly talk about the whole kind of program, how this is going to work. Okay, we're going to get to know each other all pretty well over the next 12 months because this is a 12-month program. Okay, this is how we're going to function this. You probably saw in the welcome email, but we're going to have these trainings monthly live. Okay, we're going to have them over Zoom, and we want you to be able to attend. It seems like we picked this time of day because we've got people from a whole bunch of different time zones, from Central to Pacific, maybe even some Eastern time joining. And we wanted to find a middle of the day time that works for everyone. And we didn't want to take up your family time in the evening. And because the doctor owners have signed off on this, we're going to take advantage of making sure that you guys get to do this. Okay, so we're going to have these monthly trainings. You should have seen in the welcome email, and if you have had any trouble with this, there's this messaging platform called Slack. If you've never used it, it doesn't need to be super intimidating, and if it's challenging or it doesn't work, it doesn't have to be. This Slack channel, I want you to look at as like a group text with all of us, okay? This channel can be used 24/7 whenever you've got a question, okay? You can download the app on your phone, you can have it on your computer, but it's really meant to be a daily kind of Q&A update type of thing. So I want you to look at this group as your resource of saying, if I have any question or I'm running into issues, you can hop in on that Slack channel and you can type in a question. Okay. Okay. The next part is our Facebook group. Same kind of thing. Some of us like Facebook more than maybe the Slack channel. We're also going to be posting all those videos, all the recordings of the trainings on the Facebook group, as well as on the online course platform. So you'll have two places to be able to go back, access the recordings. We'll be sending updates throughout the weeks as far as additional information or resources or templates and stuff like that in order to make this the best experience it can be. So make sure you've joined all those, okay? The Slack channel and the Facebook group. We really want this to be a resource for you. And frankly, it's just going to be however much you use it is what you're going to get out of it, okay? Any questions on that? Just the stuff. Okay. All right.
Hey,
Brighton.
Brighton, real fast, just as a matter of protocol.
Yeah.
I know we want this to be a discussion, but if we got background noise, go ahead and mute if you could, and then unmute when you want to ask. That helps everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. Okay, we're going to be dialing in what we want to focus in on the next 12 months is leadership's going to be the backbone of everything we do. Now that's a big subject. Leaderships can sometimes maybe be intimidating or broad or even vague. And we want to peel away the onion of that and make sure that you've got a crystal clear understanding of what that means for you. And specifically, we're going to be diving into the mindset, skill set, and tool set of leadership. And those are going to be kind of almost 3-4 month chunks. So the first few months, we're going to be focusing on the mindset of leadership. And then we're going to dive into the skill set and then the tool set. We're going to always have action items or things for you to do, almost homework from each lesson we have. Okay. And we wanted to do it monthly because dentistry is really fast paced and a month just seems to fly by. Okay. It just disappears. And so we wanted to focus on mastery instead of information overwhelm. Bob and I could talk your guys' ear off for a week straight, and you would be super overwhelmed and we wouldn't be able to actually implement anything. So we're going to be doing monthly things, monthly themes to just focus in on help you really just mastering that one subject, that one action first, and then we'll be kind of building up from there, if that makes sense. Okay. So let's get to know each other a little bit. So
Brighton, do one thing. I know Sylvia from Albuquerque is ready to get on.
yeah, she's on. I let her in. Yep, there she is.
Okay, great. Alrighty, cool.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna go around and share obviously your name, where are you located, what's your role in the practice, how long you've been in dentistry, why do you stay in dentistry, and what do you want to get out of this course? And I'm gonna assign an order just according to what it looks like on my computer. Okay, so we're gonna go Katie first, then Jen, then Kathleen, and then Tammy, and then Sylvia, and then Lori.
I'm Katie. I am located in Sun City West, Arizona. I'm the office manager. I am the everything. I'm the everything right now. I have been in dentistry for 12 years. I stay in dentistry because I'm not in a sedentary, whatever the word is, position. Because I do everything, whether I'm a sterile tech or a broom flipper or a greeter or a counselor. I think that's why I stay in it, because we do the same thing, but then everything is different every day. So it's controlled chaos. I also love my hours. I'm 20 minutes from home. I work with my best friend, and I enjoy my doctor a lot. He's funny. What I want to get out of this course is being stronger. Over the years, my personality has changed a little bit. I used to be a really high I, and now I'm more of an S and a little bit of D, and I want to be a stronger D. I want to be a stronger leader. I don't want to walk on eggshells, but I don't want to be forceful. So I really want to grow in that. And I'm hoping that I get that out of this course and being just a stronger voice for my team and for my doctor. That's it.
Love it. Thank you, Katie.
Great.
To
Thank you,
have
Katie.
here. We're super happy to have you here. Okay, Jen and Kathleen.
Go ahead. My name's Jennifer, and so we are located out of Visalia, California, so Central Valley. And my role is lead for the back office. So I am an extended functions assistant, actually. And I've been in dentistry for about 15 years now. So yeah, and why do I stay in it? Good question. Sometimes I really don't know.
Because she loves us, that's why.
No, I mean, it comes down to the patient care. And so I love working back office. I love working directly with the patients and just helping them in getting their smile back together, and just even knowledge, going over just instructions on basic care, even from there. So yeah, and then it helps to have a great boss to work for as well. So that's always nice. And staff and coworkers who are also friends. And then what do I hope to get out of this? To help with management skills for the back office as the lead, just helping put those systems in place and keeping them in place. Yeah, I have grown over the years. I used to be a little timid, shy mouse. Believe it or not, Bob. I know we've talked, but I have grown a backbone over the last few years and been a little more stern in certain things. So yeah, so just a little more help with that.
All right.
Great, Jen. Thank you. Yeah, Kathleen.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Kathleen. I am Dr. Navarro's office manager.
I have been in dentistry 29 years this June. More than half of my life. Started when I was 19. So yeah, a few years. Why do I stay in dentistry? It's all I know. And had an interest when I was very young, went through lots of oral surgery and ortho for 5 years on my own mouth. And that's what interested me in dental. Been an office manager for a few years now. As you, Bob and Brighton know, Dr. Navarro bought the practice almost a year and a half ago now. And we have big changes going on. We're expanding. Dr. Navarro is going to start seeing special needs patients. So out of this course, I am looking for a lot of guidance and leadership to get underneath my belt to help with this growth. And, you know, we've got big plans, and we're super excited. And we have an amazing team, and we are all on board 100% and can't wait to see the big changes that are to come in our future. So I'm definitely looking forward to some help with all of this. So,
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
thank
Okay,
you.
why don't we go to you, Tammy? Oh, you're muted, so we can't hear you.
You're muted, Tim.
There we
There you
go.
go.
There we go. You're on. Great.
I'm Tammy. I'm in Great Falls, Montana. I'm the office manager here. I've been managing for 25 years in October. I don't think my car knows where else to drive to other than here, honestly, but our practice has grown from 1 doctor in a tiny office to 3 doctors in a brand new, beautiful office. I enjoy dentistry because we have a little bit of medical and dental both. So it's always changing, something different. Even wisdom teeth patients can be different. I think it's exciting. I stay because I enjoy the doctors I work with. And I don't know, it's just, you see a lot of appreciation from our patients in the changes that you make. I want to get more leadership skills out of this course. Things have changed over the years, and I think it's always good to learn more.
That it is. Great, Tammy.
Hey, let's go to Sylvia.
Sorry, I was
There we
muted.
go. We got you now.
Perfect.
All good. Great. Okay.
I'm Sylvia. I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico with ABQ Dental. I'm the office manager here. I've been in dentistry about 25 years. Started out as a dental assistant, and now I'm an OM. I stay in dentistry because I love it. I think I love to see and develop people and just watch them grow and become leaders. That's exciting to me. I think the last position that I'm in, I met with a lot of new doctors, and just watching them grow and become leaders was exciting to me. And that's really what I like to do and I enjoy doing. I like dentistry all the way around, but I think that's where I've received the most satisfaction, is just watching and seeing other people succeed. So I like that. What do you want to get out of this course? I hope to grow and improve my skills. I'd love to. It's never easy for me to have tough conversations. So I'm always looking to improve my communication. So I hope to get that out of this course.
Great.
Awesome, Sylvia.
Thank you.
That's great.
All right, Lori.
Hi there. Yes, I'm Lori, and I'm in Kansas City. I work for Dr. Julie Babcock, and I've been with her about 5 years. I've been in dentistry about 34 years. And the reason that I stay is due to the diversity, the fast-pacedness. Dr. Babcock is a holistic dentist, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. I was a holistic mindset myself personally, and I just really enjoy the patient base that holistic dentistry brings. They're highly educated, highly researched, and they truly are coming for education and help, and they're just so thankful and appreciative. We're full fee for service. We don't do any insurance. And so I love being part of this practice. So what I'm hoping to get out of this is we have recently added a dental partner back in January. So just helping Dr. Babcock, kind of bringing two teams together and helping bring differing backgrounds together to the common good. And my current position is as office manager.
Awesome. Lori, it's good to have you. Well, very exciting, everyone. As you can see, we've got a lot of experience in this room. It's if you
Yeah,
combine
we
everyone's
do.
experience, it'd be like over 150, 200 years of dental experience. And so there's a lot to learn. Probably, maybe we set this up, Bob, so I can just learn from the masters. And maybe that's why we did this, because these ladies are going to teach me a lot. But we're going to be focusing on so much on leadership in this course. And we have a few expectations that we want to put out in order to help you each get the most out of this experience. Okay. So first, while we're on these live meetings, and you can draw the line in the sand, you can tell the doctor, the team, hey, while I'm on these meetings, these trainings, like that's all I'm doing. So we want you to be present and focused. We want you to get the most out of this as you can. Okay, this is by far not going to be a lecture series. This is going to be a discussion. We are going to have lots of questions, and we want you to be able to participate and share. We're going to be facilitating it, but we want you guys to really participate. So that's why it's helpful to be in a place where you can be present and focused and dialed in. Okay, we expect you to ask questions, not just of us, but ask each other questions. You guys can use each other as a resource to help each other navigate some of these tricky kind of issues you deal with in the office. Okay, we expect you to participate, obviously, and just a rule is the more you put in to this experience, the more you're going to get out. You can show up, you can listen to it in the background, and maybe get something out of by osmosis. You can show up, you can take notes, you can put into the action items, you can actually take action, you can ask the group questions. I can promise you, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. The more you put in, the better your life. I don't want to say your life is going to be, but it really will, because you're going to find an untapped resource you've never had before. I think you'll find it'll be an ability to lessen stress in the day-to-day, and hopefully it will start to lighten some of those burdens that you all carry. Okay, Bob, anything else on that?
The other thing we're just excited about is not only creating a network among you, but to provide tools and skills that can help elevate how you feel you're performing. And Sylvia, your comment was spot on. You said those tough conversations are hard for everybody. Okay, and yet that's part and parcel to the job of a leader. And we're excited to be able to help provide the framework for a lot of those type of communication settings. Not just tough conversations, but great conversations, and help you learn more and more to raise your confidence and raise your competence, and allow you to just be able to feel better and better about your role.
Yeah.
And be more successful in it. So we're really glad you're here, because again, this has been a dream for about 2 years. We thank Dr. Navarro for kicking us in the fanny to make it happen.
We're excited about it.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's jump in, huh? So this first lesson is all going to be about the leadership mindset, okay? And our goal for today is to really establish, so that we all have the same understanding of what is a leader, how do they show up, and what makes a leader good. Pretty simple questions, but we're going to spend the next hour discussing it. Okay. By the end of this, we're going to walk out with a crystal clear picture of, okay, what does it look like to be a leader? And our goal to get to the end of this is to help you start to have an action item to walk away with, some homework to walk away with, to start putting some of this into practice for yourself and for your team. Okay. So let's just open it up. What's a leader to you? No wrong answers, no right answers. I'm just curious. How would you define a leader?
I guess I'll go. Oh, go
Someone
ahead.
who listens.
Someone who listens.
I view a leader as someone who, in a sense, takes charge, but is also open to feedback and is willing to adjust to change and grow.
I would say somebody
Great.
that can help you and guide you to find the solution to the problem. If you can't figure it out, instead of them just telling you what the answer is, like having you travel down a different avenue or a different road to get you to that as a team, not just as, well, I would do it this way and this is the only way to do it. So kind of like what Sylvia said.
Well, yeah, you said guides you to a solution, doesn't just solve it for you. Great.
Right.
Great. I think Kathleen, Jen, one of you was going to say something, I'm pretty sure.
I just said like listening and staying neutral, because when you have different team members coming to you with different concerns, staying open-minded, staying neutral, listening to your team is important.
Yep, it is very important. Great.
Great. So I love this quote by, we're going to say Goethe. Is that how we're pronouncing it? I can't pronounce his name, okay? But this is a great quote. He says, treat a man or a woman, okay? This is Old English, so they refer to all humans as mans, but treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he can and should be, and he will become as he can and should be. I came across this, I think it's actually pulled from 7 Habits is where 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is where we found this quote, but we came across it just recently. And to me, this was one of the best simple definitions of what a leader really is someone that treats a man as he can and should be, because then they will become as he can and should be. So we're gonna peel this back more and more. But Bob, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, to me, Covey put it this way. He said that leadership is believing in somebody so much until they begin to believe in themselves. And that definition has always stuck with me because of the leaders that I had the opportunity to be able to work with, and now being a leader myself, there's a phrase, leaders create other leaders.
Yeah. Great. Does anybody have any comments? Anything you want to share? You don't have to. I'm just curious. Okay. So let me ask you this question. Who is the predominant leader in your life? Kathleen, did you guys say something? You're muted. I can't.
We both said
We
the same
both
thing.
agreed.
What did you say?
The man above.
Okay,
The one
God,
in
love it.
control.
Okay, great. Any other answers?
Other thoughts? Yeah.
Maybe I need a little bit more clarification on what you mean by that. Is it faith-based, or is it personal life, or is it work, or
Any of the above. It is an open-ended question. You can interpret it as you like. I'm not looking for a particular answer. Who do you see as the main leader in your life?
for my family, it's myself and my husband. I think we have a mutual agreement that it's not he's the man and he takes charge, and there's certain situations, but I would say in my personal life, it would be myself and my husband.
Yeah, love that. Thank you. Any other thoughts?
For me, I was thinking my pastor is a great spiritual leader for me, and as the two others said, God is and His Word is definitely a big leadership role in my life. I am also part of a mentoring program in another venue that just helps with a lot of different concepts and accountability and that kind of thing in my life. So
It's great. Yeah.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Tammy and Katie, do you have any thoughts on this?
I would say my husband and my parents.
Great.
I've
Okay.
learned a lot from
Yeah.
my parents over the years, and if I could be half the person they are, I would be happy.
Love it.
I
Thank
think
you.
most of us feel that way. Katie.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing as, me and my husband were a blended family. So just showing our kids that you can find a good partner. Like, it doesn't always have to be a bad marriage, just because it didn't work out with one person, it can work out with somebody else. So I think especially having a daughter, I try to show her as a good mom and as a good wife, like what it means to have a voice and be yourself. Raising stepsons, being the stepmom, you always have a bad aura around that. So just kind of being the change. I feel like I'm a decent leader here in the office. The girls come to me for a lot, but I want to be better. So kind of like what Sylvia said, like, it's not what my husband says or what I say. It's like, we're two leaders in our household. We always have an agreement. And that's pretty crucial in my life.
Yeah. Love that. Thank you.
That's great.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. We didn't go down the faith route so much because that's such a personal experience for everyone. But I commend those that shared that. But for us, the reality is that you are the leader of your life. That no one else is responsible for leading you but you. And that's, I mean, several of you hinted at this, but that's a really important concept to grasp, that no one is coming to per se rescue you. No one's going to make decisions for you, right? It's all going to be up to you. You are the leader of your life, which can both be super empowering and exciting, but also can be kind of nerve-wracking and scary and things like that sometimes too. And this idea that how can we expect to lead others if we don't lead ourselves? We have to be able to lead ourselves and lead our lives in the way that we want to. Any thoughts, Bob?
Well, just in the context of like faith that was brought up, or partnership with husbands, that's a conscious decision that we make to be able to say, this is how things are going to work, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to even submit my will to God's. Okay. But ultimately, even as we're doing so, there's this reality that we're responsible for ourselves. We lead ourselves, and those decisions that stem from that then have a lot of other elements behind it. But we're responsible for us. And I loved how Covey would put that in, he'd break that word into two sub components: response able, which means that as individuals with the gift of agency and choice, that we are able to make responses that are mature, proactive, um, and build people and build ourselves.
Thank you. So why does leadership matter? What do y'all think?
This isn't meant to just be a question and then we'll give you an answer. From your experience, why does it matter?
It matters because that's what makes it successful, or can also fail certain situations. I know in business sense, if you don't have good leaders, your office is going to fail. I mean, it might not happen right away, but it's going to fail, whether it's losing team members, financial, it's the morale. It's you have to have good leaders.
Thanks, Sylvia. Why else? Other thoughts about this? Why does leadership matter?
I think it matters because you have to know who to go to for certain things. Like Bob knows, we tried to manage the office with 2 office managers with 2 different personalities, and I have PTSD from it. So if you don't have the chain of doctor, OM, assistant, that's where it gets too chaotic, and then everything is just a whirlwind. So having that leader, not necessarily a title, but just who you go to for this and who you go to for this. That's the only way to make things run smoothly, because then it's like, well, it's my way. Well, no, it's my way. Oh, well, then I want to do it my way. That's just where you get the, if dad says no, I'm going to go ask mom. And that never turns out well.
No, that's classic triangulation. Yeah.
I think it helps having a boss that's a leader and a mentor as well. Like with Dr. Navarro, he is an amazing leader, gives us lots of guidance, but yet gives us the ability and the reins, basically the control to do our job. And as office manager, as lead assistant, he wants us to be that person. You know, there are a lot of employers and bosses out there that don't like to let go of that control. And I think a lot of times that in the long run can hurt an office, because a dentist needs to concentrate on dentistry and the patients instead of all the background chaos that happens, you know, in especially, you know, a practice that has 10, 12, 15, 18 employees. You know, the larger you get, the more chaos you get. And like Katie said, when you have a chain of command, you know how things are supposed to happen on a daily basis. You know who to go to. You know, my back office assistants go to Jen. And that doesn't,
Can't fix it.
yeah, Jen can't
Go
fix
to
it. She comes
Kathleen.
to me. And that allows Dr. Navarro to concentrate on the bigger aspect and dentistry. And that's his goal, is to not have to worry about the daily hustle and bustle and chaos. So that's our job to do it and to do it well.
Yep. Agreed with that. Tammy, why does it matter to you?
I agree a lot with what they've said. But I think it helps control the chaos. We've grown from 5 employees to 28 employees, and if you don't have a structured leadership team, the employees don't have that guidance that they need to know how to set up certain protocols or who to go to in a crisis or with a question.
Yep, agreed.
Here's some of the reasons we thought leadership matters. Is teams can't run faster or fly higher than their leader. So they become the person that prevents growth or makes it happen, right?
Well, it's growth. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Leaders set the vision, pace, and direction of an organization. An organization could be your family, it can be your team at work. It can be applied to anything. We're mostly keeping things in the context of business, but leadership is applied across all aspects of life. Leaders create other leaders at all levels, and so it continues to promote ongoing growth and making people become something than they weren't before. Culture is a direct reflection of leadership, the type of environment that is just in the office or in our family. That culture exists, and it's a reflection of the leadership and the practice. I'm sure, like Kathleen and Jen, you guys could probably speak to this because you've experienced something. I don't know if many other people on this call have experienced where you had one primary leader and then it basically swapped out and the same team was there basically and the new leader, and the culture of that office totally transformed, and it was a reflection of that primary leader there. Okay.
Yeah.
And teamwork is the outcome of effective leadership, and you don't lead in a vacuum. Okay. These are some of the reasons we think leadership matters. And I think go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, Brighton, and then I'll add.
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and what you all said was spot on, and I think what we're pointing to is that as humans, we are hierarchical in nature. We look up, and I think it has to do with the family structure that we were born into, what we experience in school, what we see in business, but other places, and so we just intuitively kind of like know that there are people in a leadership position, and whether they're effective or ineffective, they really establish the parameters of what it's like to be in the organization, whether it's a church, whether it is a business, whether it's your family. And so the leaders themselves establish the height that you can fly to. They create the pace that you run to. They decide if they're going to build other leaders or not. And the most fascinating thing that we've never seen violated is if you want to see the culture of an organization or the style of a leader, just look at the culture of the organization, especially in a small business. In a small business, that culture is a direct reflection of the characteristics, the character, and the style of doing things that leader or leaders bring to the table. And therefore, effective leadership, as we said, doesn't lead in a vacuum. It's not just meant to control. It's meant to empower and to build a team that then does things independent of the leader asking it to be done. And everybody's bought into the vision and knows their role.
Great. Thank you. So we believe that the most powerful force in the world is leadership, maybe besides faith, but for this sake, it's leadership. And we were curious, what are some examples, people that you would look to as leaders, or you've seen as great examples of leadership?
Just to brainstorm, who have you seen? Either known, observed, or read about?
Mother Teresa.
Would you say?
Mhm.
Mother Teresa?
Mother Teresa, for sure.
Great.
Yeah. Kathleen?
Um, in my personal life, I would say
Sure.
my first boss. He
Okay.
was a huge impact in my life. I was
Mm.
19 years old, starting in the dental field. Dr. Navarro. Parents, parents
Mhm.
and grandparents growing up, just looking at you know, like my parents owned a grocery store, so small business, just, you know, I have an aunt that's an insurance agent. She's self-employed, you know, looking in my personal circle, um, you know, lots of people in my life that have, you know, made good choices in leadership and therefore have been very successful in their choices.
Awesome.
Yeah, within my family, I would say my husband probably, being quite a few years older than myself. He's a business owner, runs a very successful business here in town, but has other business partners as well. And he worked for that business at a young age since he was 18, 19 years old, not knowing any of them personally, not being related to any of them, worked his way up, bought into the business, and now these partners that he has are retiring out and he's buying them out. But and they've been leaders to him, you know, like second dads to him. Got him into, you know, more into the investment side of it with investing, just all around made him the leader that he
Mentors,
is,
yeah.
mentors to him, which then he's brought
Mhm.
that on to me. So, and
Mhm.
then we work together that way at home as well with our children and family base. As everyone else mentioned, you know, your team, it's not man, woman, leader of the house. We work together also. So
That's great, Jen. Thank you.
For me, as far as in my family, as far as a great leader, I have a brother who's retired Air Force. He was on a Black Hawk helicopter unit, and he's transitioned into a civilian life as working for HUD. And then he also has a home development, a renovation. He tears down old homes, builds new homes for rentals for dental students and med students and that kind of thing, and is really involved in his community. But he just really is great at, you know, he grew up working with the government and not getting overwhelmed, but just systematically plugging away and chipping away. You know, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And working with diverse people, different backgrounds, that kind of thing. And just in the communication and caring about people. And he's just a great role model for me.
That's great, Lori. Thank you. And if you step back and think about the impact those individuals have had on your life and where you would be today without them, I think it drives home this point: the most powerful force in the world is leadership. And I would even say, within the context of faith, that there's a leadership, an enormous leadership component there as well, in terms of where God is trying to lead our life, if that's the frame of reference that you live in. These are some examples that we just came up with, and you think about the amazing difference these individuals have made, the mark that they have put upon the world, from JFK to Nelson Mandela and breaking down the walls of apartheid, to Winston Churchill, to defeating the Nazis basically single-handedly till the Americans joined the war. Washington was called the indispensable man. He maintained that role until his death. Abraham Lincoln, who saved our country, the savior himself. John Wooden, who is an amazing basketball coach for the UCLA basketball team, that for 10 years they won the national championship. Gandhi, his influence on India. Eliza Hamilton, who was the wife of Alexander Hamilton. If you read about her, she was very much behind the scenes at times, but at other times, man, she was a leader. Sarah Blakely, Brene Brown, who's a very popular author today, Margaret Thatcher, who they called the Iron Lady back in the 80s in Britain, when Britain was going from a thrust of being more socialist to being a more capitalist economy, helped Reagan break the back of the Russians, of the communists. And each of these people, on a grand scale, but if you think on a small scale, with our own lives, has made an impact that, because of them, we're in a totally different place than we would have been otherwise.
Yeah. So we want to do a little exercise for a sec. And what we want you to do is grab a piece of paper, or you can use a note on your phone. And we call this the good versus bad leader activity. Okay, so grab it out. If you've got a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left side of that, I want you to describe the worst leader you've ever worked with or around. Don't give me names, but just describe their characteristics. Okay. How did they show up? How did they treat you? How did they act? Just define them for me. Okay. And we're going to spend 2 minutes on that.
What were they like? How did they treat you? How did they show up? What were their characteristics? What did you experience with them?
Okay. As you start to finish up that one, go on to the other side of the piece of paper, grab another note, whatever you want to do. And now I want you to describe the best leader you've ever worked with or been around. This could be some of the people you referenced already on the call, and describe them. Same thing, characteristics, how did they show up? How do they make you feel? How do they communicate? All those things. Okay. So shout it out to me. Tell me some of these characteristics. How did you describe the bad leaders, the worst leaders?
Disrespectful.
Micromanager.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Belittling.
Yep, I have that
And
down.
dismissive.
Controlling, lack of willingness to train or provide education.
Mm-hmm.
Short fused.
untrustworthy, disrespectful,
Closed-minded.
I
Mm,
put brought high stress, chaos, and high turnover.
mm,
Yeah.
arrogant is another one.
mm. Great.
That's a good one.
True. Anything else?
I experienced they're just flat out mean. Just
Can be,
not.
huh?
Mhm.
Yeah. Dismissive, disrespectful is one I heard several times. Rude, mean, controlling, micromanaging, leads to lots of churn. People don't want to work with them. Very selfish in nature, right? It's my way or the highway. You do what I say when I tell you to do it. When I say jump, you jump, kind of a thing. But yeah, they're very intrinsic, very like you're here to make me look good in a way, or if you're not, then get out of here, kind of a thing. Okay. All right. How about the good leaders?
Teacher,
Leader,
Empowering,
yeah,
respectful,
good listener.
Accountable.
Positive.
I put transparent.
Oh, I like that.
oh, that's a good one.
compassionate,
Empowering, positive,
Flexible, generous, trusting,
caring, appreciative, family oriented,
growth oriented.
good listener.
Mhm.
Love it. What else?
Oh,
Anything?
great list. Wow.
Yeah.
I did also put believed in me.
Yes.
Mm.
Hmm. Yep. Great.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Bob and I have conducted this little activity across the country. We've probably had hundreds of people do this exercise. And the characteristics come back. I wish we had, well, we ought to start like a master list because uh, it's it's almost always the same type of characteristics. We hear bad leaders are dismissive and disrespectful and selfish and all these things, and we hear good leaders are exactly how you described them, right? Someone that's a teacher, respectful, accountable, great listener. They're transparent and honest and empowering and compassionate, flexible, generous, trusting, appreciative, value focused. They're a great listener. They believe in me, all these things. So it's interesting because the reason we like to do this exercise is because we inherently know who we want to follow. We know what, someone that makes us feel important and almost important, almost loved at points, and that we matter. We want to follow those people, and those that make us feel the opposite, we don't. And so we know what good leaders look like. And sometimes maybe you could see yourself in the mirror of being that bad leader at points of maybe times, bad days, or at points of your career. And maybe there's other days that you feel like, hey, I'm scratching some of these good leader qualities. And what we want to do is help get more of those good qualities in us and something that creates a little bit more consistency for each of you. Simon Sinek put it this way. Simon Sinek is a thought leader. I don't know if you've ever heard of his TED Talk, the Start With Why, but he's a great kind of thought leader, guru guy. But he put it this way: we follow those who lead not for what it does for them, but what it does for ourselves. So those that follow you they don't follow you because what it does for you. They follow you for what it does for them. In another way, it goes back to making how those leaders make us feel. Do those leaders make us do the leaders in our lives make us feel empowered and important and recognized and feel appreciated and all those things? If they do, then we want to follow them. We want to rally around them. But if they make us feel the other ways, if they are dismissive to us, if they are rude to us, if they are micromanaging to us, they don't trust us, all those things, we don't want to follow them. Right?
You may comply for a while,
Yeah, and sometimes
but yeah, you have to. But like Stephen Covey said, you can buy a person's back, but you can't buy their heart. They give it to you.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great thought. Yeah, we've done this exercise all over, even in Australia, from Atlanta to Adelaide, Australia, and the answers fascinatingly always come back the same. We've got this innate sense, just like compasses know how to find true north. We know what a good leader is, and we know what a bad leader is. We can learn as much from the bad leaders as we can from the good leaders if we choose to not do what the bad leaders do.
Yeah. Yeah. How many of us have worked? I mean, obviously, how many of us have worked with a bad leader? Definitely. Like Bob said, they can be just as important learning experiences as with the good leaders. There needs to be good and bad, and we can learn from both. So here's a great story of that example. And Bob, maybe some of you have heard of this, maybe you haven't, but regardless, it's a fantastic story that illustrates this exact point.
Yeah, so let me peel back a little bit and go back in time when I was literally just starting my consulting business. Hillcrest Knights, they're my kids' high school in Little Idaho Falls, Idaho. And the football team there was always decent. They usually won at least half their games. All the students showed up to the games. They would stand through the whole thing, kind of like Texas A&M style with the 13th man. And, there was a lot of camaraderie around it, a lot of fun. And the coach who started the program, because Hillcrest was a high school that had been about 10 years old when this happened, retired. A new coach came in, and in 3 years of time, they didn't win one game under his leadership. Not one. The last season that he was there, they scored 30 points when their opponents scored over 330 points. And you would have thought, because I was in the stands, my son played for this coach, that if they made a first down, that they had won the game, because rarely did they make first downs. The very last game of the season, I'll call him Coach Smith, in the locker room, screams at these boys, tells them they're all losers, says that he can't believe that they even wanted to play football. And they asked why on earth wouldn't they ever listen to him the way the team in Shelley, Idaho did when he took him to the state championship. After a tirade like that, you'd expect that he lost his job as a coach. He did. Sadly, he still stayed at the high school, but he was still the head coach. He was still there as a teacher. Then about 3 months later, a new coach showed up, a gentleman by the name of Darren Owens, who came from California, from Southern California, in fact. And in one season, the Hillcrest Knights went from losing 3 years in a row of games to becoming state champions. In one season, they won 11-1 with the very same boys. This wasn't remember the Titans, where a long-haired ringer shows up and he can throw the ball 70 yards and nail anybody. They were the same boys These are boys in my neighborhood that I grew up with. My son, unfortunately, did not get to play for Darren Owens because he graduated before Owen showed up. And it was remarkable the first time that I finally was able to go to one of their games. Hillcrest's reputation had become such that we were losing all the time. Nobody started to go to the games at all, except brokenhearted parents and grandparents hoping the kids could handle one more loss. Then I had a daughter at Hillcrest, and she started telling my wife and I that we're winning football games. And we're like going, you got to be kidding me. We're winning? And she said, yeah, we're winning. And so at the time, I was just starting my business, and we literally couldn't afford to go inside the gate. So we would park in the parking lot and watch the score and listen to the crowd. And I was finally starting to get some money in and finally starting to get some traction with consulting. And we got to go to the state semifinal championship. And at halftime, I turned to my wife and I said, Judine, I have no idea who this new head coach is. Because he wasn't storming up and down the field. He wasn't throwing a clipboard on the ground. He didn't even have a headset on, for crying out loud. He was like invisible. And yet these boys were playing flawlessly against some really, really tough opponents. And they won that game, and we wanted to see him to win the state championship. And after it was all over, I mean, again, sitting in the stands, my first observation was, Judine, this is an amazing example of leadership, of how you can take a group of zeros and turn them into heroes just by how they were led. And so I had a chance to interview him after the season was over and talked to him, Coach Owens, and said, how did you do this? What was your formula? And he said, well, it's actually pretty simple. Usually it took me 2 or 3 years for a team to get ready to the point where they could win a championship, but these kids were unusually prepared for what I had to offer them. And he walked into that with a new set of plays and a new way to attack the game. But more importantly, and Lori, I'm going to go off of what you said in terms of what type of leader inspired you. You said that they believed in me. And that was Owen's whole approach, was he believed in these boys, was respectful towards them. He got them the equipment that they needed. He trained them voraciously, but he empowered them to start to make decisions. And it wasn't about him. It was all about them. And the results showed it, that they were able to put together a group that achieved the impossible because ultimately they believed in themselves. And so, you know, there are other stories we'll tell as this class goes along in terms of what he did and how he did it. But he did provide the framework that we'll talk about in just a few minutes that he called upside down leadership. And I'd heard of servant leadership before. I've been a student of leadership my whole career. But when he framed it so well, he said that, frankly, my job as a coach was to see that my team succeeded. And it was to provide them all the tools and the training and the targets needed for them to know that they could succeed. And then I step out of the way and let them do it. And we watch a lot more Hallmark than sports in my home. That's not true with Brighton, but that is for my wife and me. And I'm not a sports addict, but I find that sports is a really great, fun microcosm of watching human dynamics and seeing how effective leadership works and how ineffective leadership doesn't work.
Yeah. It's a powerful story, though. Thank you for sharing, Bob.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, going off of what Darren Owens taught us is that leaders expand vision, and we've talked about this throughout the conversation today. But Leaders expand vision for what is possible, both for themselves and for those they lead. So for Darren Owens, it was these boys. He sat them down and asked, what do you want to have happen? And he empowered them. And then he said, well, what if we do more? What if we won the whole thing? What if we won the state championship? What if, and he had these boys participate in the creation of that vision of what were we working towards? Because leaders create visions, vision being where are we going? Where are we working towards? Either
And why?
intentionally, either intentionally or unintentionally. So either way, as a leader, you're leading your team somewhere. Where do you want that to be? Because leadership is either by default or by design. And vision is either by default or it's by design. And so we're leading our teams somewhere. And part of a characteristic of a great leader is someone that, like Lori mentioned, someone that believes in me, but believes that I can become something greater than I am greater than I am today. And that is across, a team that's greater than they are today, than they were yesterday. And believing that a team or a business or a family can become something more than what they are. For those of us that are believers in God, then God is our ultimate, portrays the ultimate vision, because he believes wholeheartedly that we can become great people. So, interesting. There's a great book. Well, first of all, let me ask you guys, we've been talking for a minute. Does anybody have any questions or comments or ahas or thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's just good to recognize that, yes, leadership is by design or by default, that leadership's happening even when you're not actively striving for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going off of this, leaders expand vision, because it's a characteristic of great leaders that they expand vision. In fact, there was a great book written that did this big survey that they conducted, and they surveyed 3,474 people on whether leaders create a strong vision for the group's future. Without spending too much time on this, the best rated leaders, 86% of them do create a strong vision for the group's future. And then 32% of middle managers do, and the worst leaders, 10% don't. So there's a high correlation to those that we look to as great leaders also create a strong vision for the group's future. Okay. Now, when we think of vision, it's sometimes this weird, vague, like, what does that even mean thing? And there's a great story called the myth of the mountaintop. Okay, so there, we imagine there's this robed mystic that sits high atop a mountain, or in a C-suite position, or the owner of the practice, or the parents of the family, whatever, deep in contemplation until inspiration hits. Bam, the vision appears. The mystic descends into the village, or into the team meeting or company meeting or whatever it is, where eager followers flock to receive a direction and instruction. Vision is delivered, job is done. Oftentimes, I mean, I know I'm guilty of waiting for someone to say to me, this is where we're going, and this is why we're going there. And oftentimes in business, I've been guilty of it. I look to my managers or the owners of the company or whoever to say, okay, tell me where you want to go and I'll get us there. But in all actuality, it's not just this owner or C-suite position or whoever you want to portray as this mythic up high on the mountaintop, right? So there's some assumptions here. The assumption is that the ability to craft a vision is innate. It's a trait possessed by only the truly gifted. Okay? Crafting a vision is an independent activity done by a lone genius. Crafting a vision is vaguely magical. It's ethereal, and indefinable. A vision is something to be delivered from on high, mountaintop down. Am I making sense? Is this story, is this connecting with any of you? I'm just curious.
Yes, I think,
Go ahead.
I think what you're saying is that it's not just the pie in the sky or the high ranking people within an organization that create vision, but I do believe it does take a high up casting the tone of the vision or whatever, and that, the team kind of can fill in the gaps or whatever. But I do believe the top person does have to set the course. Are you in agreement of that, or?
Yeah, yes and no. So going back to what we stated very first thing in our conversation today is that you are the leader of your life. So starting with just you, if the basic team is me, myself, and I, you're responsible for creating a vision first and foremost for yourself. God
Correct.
has given us a gift as humans, unlike any other animal in the world, that we can actually imagine, that we can imagine future possibilities. He's given us some gift that allows us to portray into the future. Now, that future doesn't saying we can perfectly predict it, but we have this ability to set goals, to imagine a better version of where we are now, whether that's a team, ourselves, our family, our team, whatever it is, right? Every human has this ability to do that. And so going back into the reality of life, you as the office manager or team lead or whoever definitely has the ability to set a vision for where you want to go, how you want your team to function. And you obviously will get support from, and it needs to be in alignment with the doctor owner. But that doesn't prevent you from wanting to do it. Bob, help me out here.
Well, I think what we're saying is that we each have the human capacity to establish a vision for ourselves. That's uniquely inherent to us. Animals don't have that ability. We do as humans. We look into the future. We see things. We live for that meaning of what's coming to us. Great book called Man's Search for Meaning, which talks all about that, of a Nazi concentration camp survivor who wrote lessons about how important vision is and how we all create our own. And Lori, I do agree with you. I think at an organizational level, that predominant leader does establish a course. In a supporting role as a leader, though, we can help support that role and also that vision and help steer it and craft it. Because I think one of the points Brighton's going to make next is that often what we find is that vision is cloudy. That, like in our own lives or in the lives of the organizations that we help run, we've never really taken the time to establish this is where we're going and here's why. And that is sensed by the people within the organization. You'll notice that we quote a lot from Stephen Covey. Let me just state up front, next to the scriptures, Covey is the most important author I've ever read, simply because what he was able to teach, we believe, are kind of the laws of human interaction. And he did teach this, that all things are created twice, which is a really fascinating snapshot. There's a mental creation and then a physical creation. You think about like the building that you're in. There was an architect that actually put where you are on paper with plans. You think about, your favorite book, and there was somebody who didn't just sit down and write, but they had an outline for it, and they had a purpose and a design for it. First and foremost, bridges that you cross, boats that you're on, planes that you fly in. everything was created within the imagination or mentally first, and then created physically second. So this applies to our lives. And one of the things that we found is the best leaders are those who first have a very clear vision for themselves. Then that vision helps then grow into the vision for the organization they're a part of, and they help other people establish a clear vision as well.
So kind of,
And so
oh, go ahead,
go
Bob.
ahead, please.
No,
Go ahead.
just going off that. Yeah, a vision is important because it expands assumptions about what can be done. Okay, it provides purpose, it drives, and it unifies. And going back to what you're saying, Lori, is absolutely, you know, you don't want to come out, walk out of this meeting and walk up to Dr. Babcock and say, I've got a vision for this practice. This is where we're going, and get on board. But more in a sense of, hey, where do we want to go together? And you can help show some ownership of that. But like Bob was saying, we want to focus first and foremost on yourself, because each and every one of you can be, you all expressed, I want to become a stronger leader. I want to become a better communicator. I want to be able to handle these tough conversations more. By just saying that, you're portraying some sort of a version of yourself that can do those things better than you are now. Okay, you are already starting to go down this process of, who do I want to become? My wife and I, one of our favorite things to do is go on dates, get away from the kids, go on trips, whatever it is, and we just dream, right? We dream about what we want our future to look like. We dream about what we want our life to look like. What kind of kids do we want to raise? Where do we want to be in 20 years and 40 years? We dream. We portray this vision of who we want to be, the type of family we want to raise, stuff like that, right? We're doing this all the time. And I think that is something that we do naturally, and oftentimes we don't actually consider we're doing. Okay. So we're running pretty close up on time. So I'm going to do some speed round if that's okay. We've got actually quite a bit of stuff in here still to cover. First of all, are we understanding why this is important? You can just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're confused or it doesn't make sense. Okay. All right. So now we've hit the point. Being a visionary leader is important. It's actually necessary in order to be an effective leader. Okay. So how do you become a visionary leader? That's the question we should be asking. So we're going to run through these things relatively quick. Like I said, these will be themes throughout the entire course. Okay. So first, flip your focus. There's a great guy that wrote this book. I heard he's bald and really sharp and lives in Utah. Okay. Bob wrote this book. It's called Flip Your Focus. It's a fantastic paradigm shift to exactly what he was alluding to that he learned from Darren Owens. It's this taking this traditional organization of the team where the leader's on top and everyone else is there to serve the leader, right? We've been in organizations like that. We're there, maybe we're in one right now, whatever it is. We oftentimes, the leader's up on top and we're all there to just make their life easier. Well, the flipping your focus idea, or upside down leadership, as Bob terms it, is that you as the leader are there to see that your team succeeds. Compared to where the team is there to see your life and see that you succeed. That's the shift where you say, I'm here to make your life easier. How do I do that? Okay. We're going to spend a whole lot more time on this in a later training, but the whole flip your focus upside down leadership model is built on a foundation of trust and creating a culture of expectations, participation, appreciation, and at the center, getting rid of blame and resetting and being accountable with this theme of coaching and teaching and repeating that cycle over and over and over again. Okay. So leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. We're going to bypass the question, but this was a theme that you guys mentioned earlier when describing a good leader is they were starting to build build us up, build us to become even better leaders than they are, right? Leaders establish boundaries. Okay, this is a tough one in the dental office because you work so close, and oftentimes, I mean, several of you said I work with some of my best friends. It's really hard to be a best friend and a leader unless you have really clear boundaries and expectations. We've got one of my best friends in our company, and we have this rule where it says, hey, I need to put on my leader hat. I need to put on my boss hat for a sec. Or, hey, this is a friend conversation. I need to have a friend conversation with you. And really setting those clear boundaries has allowed our relationship to flourish in both areas, both in our working, that we can have debate and dialogue, but also, hey, if you're having a rough time, you can call me anytime and we can work through whatever it is that you're going through. Those boundaries are really clear for us, and they have to be, because you're going to probably have, as a leader, you're going to have to hold people accountable because you want them to become something more, right? Because you believe in them. And if you really believe in someone, you're going to ask them to do more than what they're doing now. And sometimes that means, Sylvia, we have to have tough conversations, right? And if you're really good friends with this person, that tough conversation,
That's
it
hard
can
to have.
be really intimidating. Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is ruin a relationship, right? We'll carry that burden. We'll say, I'll just deal with it. I don't want to have to hurt their feelings, whatever it is. We're here to tell you, you can have both. Okay, you can have really great friendships and really clear boundaries and be a great leader for them. Okay, Bob, any comments on this one before we move on?
I think you got it right.
Okay.
It's all about boundaries. Because there's this interesting juxtaposition, like, and Lori, I'm going to come back to this again. They believed in me, and that belief in you entails a close relationship, a relationship that's very caring. All right, but you can only lift somebody to higher ground if you're on higher ground. And I think that's the whole principle here. Is that if we're peers with each other, then we don't lift each other. But when I'm on higher ground, I can help take somebody to the next spot.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, there's this whole jump that we have to make from being a manager to a leader. Okay, and we could spend a whole nother lesson diving in what this really is, but to put it briefly, leaders versus managers. Managers are often the doers, right? We get stuff done. I got the answers. I'm here to provide. So leaders motivate others to do. Managers just do it themselves. They get it done. Leaders create independent problem solvers, while managers are the problem solvers. Okay. Leaders create energy, managers control it. Leaders are relational, managers are transactional. Okay, so we're gonna keep going through all these things, but oftentimes, especially in small businesses, we become managers because we're really good at doers. We get the job done. We're reliable. You show up on time. You have got a knowledge base to make sure stuff happens. But it takes a very intentional jump to start to build other people that can do that and starting to become this leader instead of just becoming a manager. Okay. Simon Sinek put it this way: a leader's job is not to do the work for others, is to help others figure out how to do it themselves, to get things done, and to succeed beyond what they thought possible. Okay. And there obviously are certain circumstances where, hey, we got to help, we got to get the job done. And it's my job to get some of those things done, but it's not to solve all their problems, right? I'm in the deep weeds of being a parent right now. I've got a 5-year-old son, a 3-year-old son, and another son on the way. And I'll tell you what, trying to teach kids how to do their own thing is just like, it's so crazy hard. But we're trying to do that, right? We're trying to create independent problem solvers. Some days much more successfully than others, but our team members are you can kind of look at sometimes as like our kids. We have to teach them, we have to help them learn for themselves, and sometimes they just have to be able to make mistakes in order to do so. Okay, so it all starts with you. One step at a time. Because it all starts with you, we have to build that foundation first. Getting into this mindset of it starts with me. It begins with me. If I want to make an impact on my life and my team's lives, then it has to start with me. Okay. So what we want to do is invite you to create a personal vision for yourself and then for your team. Okay. And we're going to have a template for you to download. I'll be emailing it out later today, but you'll start to go through this exercise of what type of leader do you want to be by the end of this year, by the end of this program. If you could describe the perfect team, how would that look like? How would they act? On this template, it's going to have all those prompted questions for you, and you're going to be able to go through it and start to answer them. Okay. So leaders take action. So that's our invitation. We promise to have it emailed out to you. The stretch goal would be to have it to us, email it back to us by Monday of next week. Okay. We're also going to provide you next week. We're going to provide a template on how to share this with the doctor, and then start to share it with your team. Okay, so in this template, you'll see it's going to start with you personally. How do you want to change? And then it's going to go through how do you want to see your team change? What's the vision you have for the team and the office and stuff like that? Okay. Bob, any last comments? We've ran out of time. Man, I didn't think we'd have enough content for today, but it
No,
just
we had more than enough. Yeah. So just to help frame this, today was very mindset oriented. Leadership begins with a mindset. It doesn't end with a mindset. But just to use Darren Owens as an example, he came in with a mindset that allowed him to lead in a way that created amazing teamwork, even though he never once set foot on that field and touched a ball during a game. It was all through his team that he was able to accomplish that. But they bought into his vision. They knew where he was going. He knew what he was going, and he was confident in his role. And so as this continues on, there will be more mindset discussions. Then we'll drop into tool sets, and we'll talk about skill sets, and we'll help you start with this idea first, and then what does that translate into action, and how can I lead my team better? How can I create the environment that I've always wanted, even more than I have today? And so we're excited to be on this journey with you. And it starts with vision.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, we're really excited.
Okay.
This is an amazing group of professionals.
Yeah, it really is. Does anybody have any last questions before we end the call today? And it could be about anything that we've talked about or will talk about, anything like that.
What day is the next meeting?
Good
For
question,
next month.
Tammy. Yeah, good question. We picked Wednesdays because Wednesdays tend to be a slower day in dentistry.
Palmer Day.
Yeah. Not slower, but yeah, calmer is a good word for it. And so
We're targeting Wednesday the 15th.
Wednesday the 15th. Yeah. So it's not quite a month away. And then I think our goal, right, Bob, will be the second Wednesday or third Wednesday of each month. Was that what I think it's gonna be the third Wednesday of each month. So what I'll do, Tammy, is we will send out an email with the schedule.
Okay.
With what it is, so you can start blocking it off on the calendar. We're sorry this one was kind of last minute, but hopefully you'll be able to have more time to prepare and block it off. So what we'll do is this recording will obviously be available. We'll post it onto the Facebook group. We'll post it onto the online course platform that you'll be able to access again in the future if you ever want to, or if there was something like you were trying to remember that you wanted to come back to, it'll all be there. But please join the Facebook group. Bob and I aren't super active on Facebook, so we really created it for you guys, but we'll be on there. And then the Slack channel can be a super awesome resource. If you don't have to wait to ask questions on anything dealing with management, leadership. If you want a resource to tap into, please go post on there, share with us. Okay. Any other
And
questions?
what's the Facebook page? What is,
It should have been in that email that Bob forwarded
Okay.
you. But it's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Dental Leadership Accelerator, just like the name of the course. So
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, the link is just further down on that invite, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate it. Please let us know if you have any more questions. If you sign up for one-on-one coaching, we'll be reaching out to you to schedule those. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Hey,
Thank
thank you.
you.
All right.
Take care.